Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang the bombs bursting in gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Welcome back to the Tim and Steve Show. I am Tim Beard, alone again. Steve's supposed to call in about 5 minutes. He said he's about 6 hours from Mount Rushmore out in South Dakota, so he's making his way. He's if you haven't been watching, he's bringing Zeta to college, and she's going to Montana, so he's heading out there. So he's going to call in, and we'll see what's going on, what's new, talk about some of the topics we got today. I've got some interesting ones coming up here. Some interesting ones, I guess. And then we're going to introduce I keep seeing these memes, and as long as it continues, we'll do this as like today's game of who do you trust more, which I think will be interesting. And actually, I'd love to have people email in or message and say, hey, I would trust this more than that, and you'll see later on in the show. I think it'd be interesting just to see people's takes on these things. So finally got the rain yesterday. It didn't rain until I got to the land, I guess, and started to do some work up there. Of course, my old truck, I had the windows down, and I was working, putting some windows in, so I was inside, which was nice. And then, of course, the rain came, and then it started raining really hard. And I'm like, well, if I go out and roll the windows up, I'm going to get really wet. So we'll just leave it down. And luckily, Andrew had a towel I could put on the seat on the ride home. But managed to get 2 windows in and some more plywood done. And hopefully later on this afternoon, we'll get the rest of that side done. And making progress. We got a 2-week wait for the concrete. I guess Carroll Concrete's short on drivers, so unfortunately they're out 2 weeks. Usually in the past you'd call Carroll and say, hey, or Ellie Weed at the time, which Carroll now does all their concrete. You would call and say, hey, I need concrete. What do you have available this week? Say it was Monday, they'd be like, oh, I'd probably get out there on Wednesday. And unfortunately now it's 2 weeks out, which at least it's only 2 weeks. It's not further. So working on finishing the elevations and stuff, and then getting a form up and getting the slab done. It's been a long, all summer long process, but getting there. So did that yesterday. No new cuts or anything, so that's nice. And it's kind of funny. Our daughter Adelina and then Amelia's girlfriend Sadie was over yesterday, and so it was raining. Adelina wanted to color. That was a whole big thing yesterday, is coloring all day and all night. It's all we heard about is coloring, and she had markers, and we told her, well, you can just go in your room, which is in the new house that we're rebuilding, I guess you would say, and the floors are up in there, so it's just plywood, so you could just go draw on the floor in there. And so I kind of had fun doing that for quite a while, and it's kind of cute. So hopefully we don't make her think she can draw on the floors no matter where she is. If not, it'd be bad if sometimes she's up here and draws on Steve's carpet. But She noticed yesterday the picture I used of Steve. Of course, good thing is I don't think he'll watch the show. Nikki was up here just a few minutes ago, Steve's wife, and I was like, yeah, well, yesterday I had a picture of Steve from back around the 5K that I took of him and used that as his picture when he called in. But and they sent Zeta sent some pictures, so we'll definitely, when he calls in, and we'll definitely get those pictures up for you guys and see him too on his way out to Montana. There's some pretty cool sites out there. So trying to think what else. Garden wise, didn't really do anything. It rained, so that's great. Now, of course, with the rain, there'll be lots of weeds.
Steve Morris.
Here we go. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. What's going on?
Oh, I was just talking about on the show. I was talking about we got rain yesterday finally, so it was supposed to start in the morning when we got up, and it didn't start until about 2:00. But then it rained pretty much all afternoon. It got a little break, and then it rained overnight. So our garden should be good and wet for at least probably today, and maybe I'd say all tomorrow, I would think.
Yeah, I was looking. I looked at the forecast too. Shouldn't have to really water probably for like 3 or 4 more days, I would imagine. Because it isn't supposed to rain a little bit tomorrow too. Isn't there a chance?
I'd have to check because you know how it is. It's been
it changes.
It's one of these things where it's like, oh, I didn't water in the morning because I knew it was going to rain, and then I'm like, wait, what happened? It didn't rain, but we did finally get the rain that we needed. So, yeah. So how's it going?
Good. We're about to cross over into South Dakota here any minute now. I imagine, because it said the construction is supposed to end at the state line, and that was, I don't know. I feel like we should be coming up on the state line because we were pretty close to it. We, the hotels right off of 90 in Minnesota were booked, except for like the ones that had a 1 out of 5 star rating, and
right.
So I found one on Expedia. It's like, it's probably just a couple miles off the road. Anyway, it took us back into Iowa, and we were in some big, grain elevator town. Like, that's all it was a big grain elevator. Very nice hotel, by the way, very clean. I was very impressed with it. But, it had like a 4.8 out of 5 rating for being in the middle of nowhere. And then this morning, trying to get back onto 90, I think Waze tries not to backtrack in any form or fashion. Oh, yeah, here we are. We're crossing the state line here in a second. Anyway, so every time it tried to tell us to take a road that was all closed to non-local traffic because of this, that, or the other, I was getting to the point where I was about to just go down one of these roads, because I'm like, do they just have this to keep people off of them? But they probably have big, trucks moving in and out during the harvest time, but it didn't really look like it's harvest time. But anyway, finally made it. We're back on 90, but it was probably like a 25-mile westerly trek down back roads through so much corn and so many peas. So I definitely know why everybody wants to take over America, is because the breadbasket is full. I mean, it's still nothing but corn and peas. I assume they're peas, but I don't know what else it could be.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I mean, like, I'm talking hundreds of miles of corn that the eye can see.
Wow.
So, it'll probably all go to make high fructose corn syrup and ethanol. Probably not much of it's fit for human consumption, but there are hundreds of miles of just corn.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. So you had an incident with a train, I heard?
How'd you hear about the train incident?
Your wife.
So last night, going to said hotel in the middle of nowhere, Iowa, we were going down like a local, farm to market road, as we call them in Texas. Anyway, I was like, "Hey, is that a train over there?" It's like, "No, you're seeing things. It's not a train." Well, I think what it was the railroad markings, like the red lights flashing.
Yep.
But it was kind of off to the right. So anyway, I must have hit the wrong thing, because it was taking us to the industrial park and not the inn or whatever it was called. And so I pulled into a gas station. And like I was saying before, Waze, I don't think, likes to backtrack. So I pull out of the gas station after I put in the right address, because we're pretty close to it, just a couple miles away. And it tells me to turn right. And so to the left, this beautifully new paved road going up to this brand new gas station. To the right is a dirt road going in between cornfields. It looks like we're about to start the plot of a bad horror movie. And Zeta's like, Dad, just send it. Just go. We're going down this road. And I'm like, somebody's going to hop out and murder us, man. We're like going through someone's cornfield. I mean, it was literally a lane and a half. It wasn't even a full, like, road where a car could pass. And, you know what I mean? It was like a car and a half length wide. So anyway, we're driving down this road. I'm waiting for, Leatherface to jump out and start hacking on the car with his chainsaw. And all of a sudden, you just hear these horns blaring, and there's a train like 30, maybe 25, 30 yards to our right, and it's coming at an angle, and it looks like it's about to hit us. And I'm like, holy cow. And Zay goes, Dad, stop. And I'm like, what? She goes, it's going to cross right up there. So I slowed down, slammed on my brakes, and there was no bars that come down. So this is 9:45, 10 o'clock at night local. And I had to slam on my brakes in the middle of this cornfield it only had 3 cars attached to it, but it was going as fast as I was, 35, 40 miles per hour. But it was coming right at an angle to us. So anyway, it was quite interesting that where we were and what was going on. But we made it. We survived.
It was a road because it had a name. It had a name that we ended up.
It was a road, but we didn't know it was a road until we got to the end of it and almost got killed by the train. Because it was like, it was like 29th CR or something. I don't know, County Road 29. But it was kind of like going to your house, but between 2 cornfields on both sides. If that makes any sense.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, it didn't look like it was meant for through traffic to be going down, is my point. Anyway, we survived. I didn't get hit by the train, but it was quite interesting. So, crazy out in the middle. I mean, we were in the middle of nowhere, northern Iowa.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I just pull up the map, kind of see where you're at, and I see. So you just went into South Dakota. So you're almost there. You got one more state. You got to go north a little bit, but or are you going into Wyoming and then up north?
I think we're going to go into Wyoming and then go up north. But today we're going to stop off at Mount Rushmore. I got us a hotel. We should be there by, what does it say, 2:37. But we got to stop and get some breakfast. We haven't eaten anything yet. The hotel breakfast was a little sparse. It wasn't much offer there.
Wasn't so great.
I had 2 cups of coffee, but Zeta did not partake in any of well, I didn't either, any of the food. The cereal looked good, but, I eat cereal every day at home if I'm hungry for breakfast, and Nikki is not home to help me make eggs. And when I say help me make eggs, make me eggs.
Make you eggs? Yeah, I got you.
But she's the best sandwich maker. Well, she learned from the best. Barb probably is the champ for sandwich making.
Right.
I have to be careful. I have to choose my words wisely.
That's true. You might get back on the door, the locks have changed, and you're like, wait, what's going on?
Perkins. So anyway, so it's interesting. I'm just impressed. And, this is only a 300 or 400 miles. Even in Indiana, it was all corn. We make a lot of corn in this country because isn't Nebraska known for its corn? So
yeah, Cornhusker State or something like that. Yeah, a lot of corn. I wonder how much is for animals and how much is for like actual corn on the cob, and then like you said, obviously ethanol and fructose corn syrup and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, this is all definitely not fit for human consumption. But it's a different color than our corn. Like our corn is like a bright green, the stalk on it. Except for I have that one organic that's kind of red.
Yeah,
has the red stalk.
Yep.
That's some of it labeled with.
Yeah, and they have it labeled with whatever they're treating it. So some of it, like when we lived in Missouri, Monsanto is out of Missouri. So you would drive by cornfields, and they would have labels letting you know what chemicals they put on or for them. their own internal research. And a lot of the cornfields, when we were on those back roads this morning, I didn't recognize the company names, but they were all labeled. So they're either hybridizing it more or testing out chemicals. Like, not all of it's like that, but there are certain fields where they have it labeled, so what's going on.
Yeah, when I was
Or
out,
they know.
when I was in Missouri, that was one of the things I thought was interesting. As you drive by, fields, depending if it was corn or if it was, I wasn't sure what the other stuff was, but there was lot like numbers on everything. So like this is lot number this, lot number that, and I was kind of like not sure. I'm like, was it like, are they going to auction off a section or something? Or, but yeah,
Nah,
they had
I think
little
that's
signs. But yeah, you're probably right.
for
It's
like
probably,
either the chemicals or if they're trying to. I think they have to hybridize corn all the time, like because
right.
what is it? It started off as maize, and they call it maize other places, but it's not as simple as just growing corn. Is what I read a long time ago, and now I just go buy non-GMO corn from Runnings or Obashan or
Right.
wherever I can find the non-GMO. I do have one hybrid in the garden this year. What is it? I don't know, Bonnie Bell or one of those type of, not Bonnie Bell, but something. So I do have one hybrid. That's probably the one that's the best. That's like the thickest at the end of the row, or the end of the section.
Probably the nicest one you got is that one. Yep.
Yeah, it's the one that they doped up full of chemicals. But anyway, it is what it is.
So I moved the lights in the studio today a little bit because yesterday there's a little fuzzy thing going on with my hat, and then we've had occasionally green screen not quite what it's supposed to be in.
Yeah, like a little bleed in or whatever.
So I moved them on the outsides of the table, so one's up against the counter and the other one's over there by the TV stand or whatever. But I feel like I need sunglasses. It's bright. So we'll see if this doesn't fix it like we need it to. I'll see what else.
Need some powder for your nose to get the glare off of you?
No, I don't know about that, but
hey, I have to stop doing the show if it comes to having to wear makeup.
Yeah, I don't think makeup, just maybe sunglasses. Yeah, it feels like a sunglass kind of day with, but we'll see. Because I had such a nice picture yesterday that Sam Nelson had put on Facebook, and I was like, hey, can I use that in the show? And he's like, absolutely. And it was just a beautiful picture of like a little river or brook he took. And and I told all our listeners, like, hey, if you have any great pictures like this, send them to us. We'd love to use them, wherever. If you've taken a picture, New Hampshire or Texas or New York or whatever that's like that, because we're always looking for new backgrounds. And so, yeah, it was a nice picture. And I don't know, it's just a little weird. Sometimes I can fix the fuzzy thing with the green screen. Sometimes I can't. And yesterday I was like, I'm not going to mess with it. So it looked okay, so I figured I'd move the lights, try to make it look better. Of course, now it's super bright, but it'd be all right. So
it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. How many miles have you gone at this point? Do you know?
I do not know. I thought about that when I was filling up with gas last night, that I should have reset my trip meter. But I'll do that on the way back so I can see many miles.
Yeah, I mean,
But it's supposed to be like 2,300 total, and I got 363 more to go today, and another 500 tomorrow, I think.
So is it 2,300 to get there, or is it round trip 2,300?
No, 2,300 to get there.
Get there? Wow.
So I'm gonna drive about 5,000 miles in about a week.
Yeah, I haven't done that. I mean, I've gone to Florida and back, and gone up through Georgia and different things, and put a bunch of miles on. But yeah. So I mean, if you 24 straight hours, you can get to Florida. Which, I mean, how many was it? 24 hours to get to there where you're going?
Yeah, I think,
30.
36, I think, is what it said originally when we first put it in.
Yeah, so it must be, because I think it was like 2,000 miles to get to Tampa or something like that. It's been a while, so I might even be off by that. But yeah, you're definitely going a little bit further. And 95 is probably faster than 90 is too, especially if you're going out through some corn country and stuff. But Zeta sent me some pictures. I'm going to put those up at the end of the show. I'll put them, because you had some nice pictures there. But I love you had the water tower that said Morris on it. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Which I'll put that one up right now. So So that must have been Morris, like Iowa, something like that. Where is that where you were at on that one?
Where was it? I'm sorry. I think I switched from 5G back to 4G or something.
It's the water tower. It's in Morris. It must have been a town. Was that in Iowa?
Yeah, I think it is in
In
Iowa.
Iowa, yeah. Nice.
We ended up going. So when we got to Gary, Indiana yesterday, there was a lot of traffic. I thought we were actually in Chicago, which I don't think it's that far from Chicago.
Yep.
So that's why, I wasn't really paying attention much. But we got in some bad traffic. And then when we had pulled off, we went and got Culver's was a restaurant that we loved when we were in St. Louis. So I pulled off to get Culver's, and instead of having me get back onto 90, which was like right across the street, it had me turn, right out of the parking lot, and it ended up taking me through Gary and then put me on 80. So I went 80 through Iowa, and then some other back roads back up to get to 90. So it was kind of weird. So we didn't get to see Chicago, which I don't really care because I'm not a big fan of Chicago. I got nothing for the state of Illinois in general. Most of their politics with the machine, the Chicago machine that I learned about 40 years ago in grade school, back when you used to learn that kind of stuff about how politics work in America.
Right.
I might have been in middle school, so I might be a little bit flippant. But anyway, so I've never really cared about Chicago. I've been there before. They're everything's a toll road, and the roads are garbage. At least they were 10 or 12 years ago when I went there. I went to a Cubs game and a wedding, and it was interesting to go to Wrigley Field. That's about I can say I've done that, and I have no desire to ever go back to Chicago.
Yeah, that was the thing.
That's my take on it.
Yeah, I've been to Chicago, I think 3 times. I know it was at least twice, but yeah, like the Navy Pier is pretty cool, and there's parts of Chicago that are nice, and I didn't get
ice packs.
I didn't get to the Wrigley Field, but yeah, no, when you drive, through parts of Chicago, it's pretty scary. It's it's almost third world country in a way. But
I just realized I left my ice packs in the freezer of the hotel.
Oops.
Damn it. Darn it.
Well, you don't want to have to turn around for those. You have to go through Jeepers.
Well, there's some more. Like there's another bigger cooler that has some in there, so I'll just take them then and freeze them. I donated that to the hotel, I guess.
Yeah. So if I own property out there, cornfield out in Iowa, whatever, I would totally get one of the old Jeepers Creepers vans to put out next to it just to.
Yeah, well, that's basically what it felt like last night. Like I don't care for that movie because the director is a pedophile, but
right.
Yeah, he is. Like that's not. I don't even have to say allegedly on that. He's been convicted, pretty sure. So, like, I had nothing for Jeepers Creepers. I think I watched the first one and then I found out about his history with taking advantage of young kids. So anyway, but yes, that's a good way to describe it. I felt like it was basically Jeepers Creepers. I was using Leatherface as an example just because of my. Texas. I don't want to advertise. Well, yeah, Texas, and I don't want to advertise for Jeepers Creepers, but it was basically I was waiting for that big bat thing to fly down and snag the car. Right? He like flies around, right?
He does.
Oh, it is? Oh, we got a little 80-mile-per-hour speed limit, baby.
Holy cow.
So get some.
Really?
Oh, did you got my text yesterday that guy I was talking about that was on my rear end? About 20 minutes, 30 minutes later up the road, he was pulled over.
Yeah, I got that. And then on the show, I put a little update right around when you said that. Say, hey, yeah, and he got pulled over. So I thought that was kind of funny.
It was. Well, normally there's not any justice. And I only say that because the way he aggressively came up on my rear end while I was passing someone else. And it's like, I can't go anywhere. I'm in the passing lane. I'm passing this guy. There's a guy in front of me. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Gals that act like they're the most important thing on the road. They don't have any vision past. But anyway, it was awesome to see him pulled over.
So have you seen any exciting wildlife on your trip?
I saw a dead raccoon.
Dead raccoon? That's it. Come on. I know when we were in Missouri, the coolest thing to see, not that it was cool, but just to see dead armadillos all over the road. because I would never really see, and I wanted to see a live one, which I never did get a chance to see because they were just squished on the road or whatever. But
They pretend to be dead, though, too.
yeah,
That's possible. But armadillos will curl
But
up.
they'll
in the ball.
roll up.
Yeah, they'll roll up in the ball.
That's what I mean.
yeah, those things are pretty cool.
There hasn't been that much roadkill. Nothing. Like I would have expected a deer or something on some of those back roads in the corn last night,
Right.
but I have
We haven't
seen.
even seen a deer.
Yeah, I've seen a hawk. That's like looking
Oh,
for
yeah, I
mice
saw
in the
a
field.
hawk.
That's about it.
Wow.
Like hovering over the cornfields looking for varmint. But I mean, I say that now. Watch me end up hitting the largest, deer in the world here at 80 miles per hour. Because karma will catch up to me for laughing about the guy getting pulled over. But
Yeah, you be careful out there. I don't know if is there elk out? Well, no, you're in South Dakota, so there's buffalo in areas out there, right?
yeah, allegedly.
Yeah, because I see.
I mean, I don't know. Well, it says right that you say that, and it says heart and healthy bison steaks jerky product, 25 products. Exit now, then left. So there's buffalo somewhere around here. Buffalo skulls. That is weird how you said bison, and then all these billboards pop
Or
up.
about buffalo.
Well,
Yeah, it's all about buffalo.
It's also interesting because as I'm talking to you, I looked up the map as I told you, and then originally I started 90 in Mass, and then as soon as I zoomed out for like a second, it brought me right to South Dakota where you are. So some AI stuff there.
So thank you, AI.
Yes, thanks for listening to our conversation and setting my map to where I need it. I didn't see your car pop up, but that's probably technology
That would
coming.
have been.
Yeah, that's coming down the road.
That's next month.
Yeah, next month we'll be good there. So, so what are you gonna? You'll be at her college what, tomorrow?
Tomorrow evening. I plan on getting there by 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna do Mount Rushmore this afternoon, and we're gonna try to do Crazy Horse, and then tomorrow morning we're gonna try to swing by to the Badlands and just look at the Badlands. It's supposed to be really beautiful out there, so.
Nice.
We get it, so it's not full blown just driving the whole time. We're gonna try to, like today, our hotel is actually a 3-minute walk to Mount Rushmore, a 2-minute walk to the Wax Museum. If we decide to do that, so I don't know, pretty exciting to be able to just sit and kind of relax. So
Nice.
We hightailed it the first day. It made it all the way to Ohio or past Toledo, so that kind of set us up. So today it'll be kind of a short drive, followed with some exploration to see some of our national monuments, national
Nice.
parks.
Nice. And then so you'll get out there, and then what day are you heading back?
Zeta moves in on the 20th, and I think I check out the 21st, so I'll head out on the 21st.
Nice. You'll be back for the board meeting?
So I'm going to try. I got some other stuff going on. I got to check in with my mom. There's some stuff going on down there. I just got to make sure everything's okay. So, unless they need me to come down there since I'm already out this half of the country if I need to. So I don't know. There'll be more to follow, but I plan on coming back on the 21st.
Nice. Awesome.
Well, head back this way, and then I'll be driving by myself, so it'll be a little bit harder. You know what I mean? Like, I have Zeta to keep me busy, keep me company to talk to. But, when you're driving by yourself, I don't want to mess around with getting tired or anything else like that. So it might actually take me a little bit longer to get back.
Yeah, driving by yourself is not fun. I've done that, and I came back from Florida once by myself, and it's rough because you just don't have that other component to have a conversation with somebody, or, and the radio just kind of becomes dull noise too. You're just getting to wow,
Right.
I'm tired. And then I'll go through stages, I get really tired, and then I'll come out of it, and then I'll be good. But yeah, at that stage of starting to feel tired, it's not fun. Especially when you're driving, like you said, driving by yourself. So. Yeah,
the Zeta fell asleep the other night when we made it past Toledo, and I wasn't tired when she fell asleep, but then within 10 minutes of not having anybody to talk to, the lights started getting blurry, so I had to wake her back up and help me find somewhere to stay, how to pull off, because it's just different when you're sitting there talking to somebody versus especially at night. So that's my big concern. Is like, I don't know how much I'll be able to drive at night.
Right.
And I don't have it mapped out. I mean, I'll probably just take 90 all the way back. I did like the not going near Chicago, so I might have to
Take that little detour there.
choose that route if it'll allow me to, or I'll have to figure it out. But I don't know. It's exciting and kind of sad at the same time. Taking little Zeta Potato here to college and dropping her off out in the, I don't know, it's not really Midwest, but kind of the Midwest.
North Midwest.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's not that far from the Pacific Ocean, really. If I didn't have the school board meeting, I'd probably, it'd be worth almost just going out, flipping off Portland or Seattle, whatever, and seeing the ocean and just doing the whole Oregon Trail, basically, and then come back. But maybe some other time, maybe when she graduates.
Hey, you gotta be careful to get on that Pacific side there. A lot of communism out there,
I know, especially with my come and take it hat, because that's the only hat I brought.
Yeah, that wouldn't go well. They'll come and take your plastic straw and, give you a cardboard one to save sea turtles or whatever.
Give me a plastic cup with a cardboard straw.
Yep. And take it out of a plastic little wrapper.
Yeah, out of a plastic wrapper, or even a paper wrapper for that matter. Did you see they destroyed all that forest to put up windmills and solar panels?
No.
People are crazy.
Yeah, it's just
somewhere. It was in Europe somewhere. They destroyed, hundreds of acres of beautiful woods to install windmills or solar panels, which up until today, I had seen a lot of windmills, and I saw 9 up to last night that actually were turning. Zeta saw 11 out of, probably 40 or 50 of those gigantic windmills.
Probably more than that.
Yeah, probably more than that, but not many of them were turning. Now the little windmills, they're turning, but the big ones, nah.
That's interesting.
Could have some powerful wind.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah, I don't know either, man.
the whole thing.
It is what it is. If we can produce electricity for cheaper, more efficient, I'm all for it. But wiping out forests in the name of green energy is kind of like the opposite, I would think. You would think that they would install this stuff in the deserts or, coastlines where there's heavier winds.
Yeah, I thought we were all about saving the, obviously the rainforest and all that, and then, but if you wanted to, so I guess if you wanted to put a solar panel, field or something in the rainforest, they'd be fine with just chopping that bad boy down then. But it's crazy. It's all about money. It's every drop of it. It's crazy.
Yeah. So you like that quote I sent you this morning?
Yeah, that was a good quote.
So that's actually in relation to your federal taxes. I've been doing a lot of research ever since I was told that the silver lining is I got a bigger return on my investment coming to me. So anyway, but that was in relation to the federal taxes, about how they're basically unconstitutional. That the roads are paid for by your gas tax, education's paid for by your property taxes, and all the money we send into the federal government's for all the pork and sending off, and that really benefit us. The stuff that benefits us, we're already taxed on in other ways. So it's just interesting. I've just been doing research on taxes.
Yeah,
and that was an article, I think, in the Gateway Pundit or something, where that quote came from. Did I send you the link to that?
Yeah.
I think I just sent you the I just want to make sure the author got credit for it, because it wasn't anything I said or anything. It was.
Yeah, I think it was the author. Yeah, you sent me the author, and we'll have to do a segment on it when you get back about what you've been looking at and stuff. And
I'll do some research, and I don't want to put any bad information out there and get anybody in trouble by any means, but and that's kind of like how it was interesting, because I've been talking to Zeta ever since the whole do what I say for the greater good, when America is all about individuality, right? And so greater good is more of a socialist, communist type Marxist thing, some pigs are greater or more equal than others, Animal Farm. And so I've been talking to Zeta about, it's okay you don't have to just do what you're told. Just because somebody has a quote unquote position of authority as described by society doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about or they're doing the right thing. So it's okay to disobey. You don't just obey blindly. Like, think about it and figure out, is it the right thing to do? And if it is, then obviously do the right thing. But and so I just thought that quote was perfect to kind of sum up better than what I've been trying to teach Zayden over the years, that don't be like your dad, just do what you're told blindly. But and not not in regards to like if something doesn't make sense, and it probably needs to be challenged. Like, don't just do it because everybody, like we were talking about with it's always been done that way type of thing. Like, just because it's always been done that way doesn't mean it's the right thing. That type of
Right, and that's the thing that gets me is because people don't, like, if you look at fables like the Pied Piper, you look at the Disney or Pixar, one of them that did the movie Ants. So, the grasshoppers were making ants do all the
Right.
work until the one ant smartened up, and like, it's all there, clear as day. You see it on TV, you see it in movies, books, everything about what's happening today, 1984. You see it all, but we still just blindly keep following along and not being like, wait a minute, like, they didn't just make all this stuff up. Like, it's just a fairy
Right.
tale. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's
exactly those are to teach us morality lessons, and
right.
you know what I mean, to teach kids at that young age that I don't know. I just it's all, to me, it all makes sense, and people probably tell us we're crazy or whatever, but I don't do something just because somebody tells me to do it. I'm going to go research it. Just like in the military, if I got something that went against my morals and values and what I think that the military stands for, then I wouldn't do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, unless it was a direct order and it wasn't illegal or moral and ethical, it might have been a bad order. In the sense of, like, I disagreed with it personally, but if I disagree with it on a moral or ethical, and I feel like other people would too, then I wouldn't do it.
Right.
And I wouldn't expect my soldiers, if I said something and they were like, man, that doesn't sound right, I would hope that they would say, hey, Colonel, this isn't right. And then we could have a discussion about it, because I'm not one of those ones that it's my way or the highway if there's any sense of hesitancy. Now, if it's somebody doesn't understand the full picture and they're making bad assumptions, then I'll explain it to them. And then if after I explain it to them and I show them the laws or the whatever, then it's like, well, just do what I say. You know what I mean? Like, it gets to that point. But
Right.
But yeah, you got to be able to challenge and do what's right. And you don't just, if a cop tells you to go stand on the right side of the road and there's traffic coming and you can't safely move over the right side of the road, like, I'm not moving over there. Stop traffic and I'll go across the road, but I'm not just going to walk over there. Like, I'm perfectly fine here. Just those little kinds of things. Just, take this medicine because the doctor says so. Well, has the doctor done all their research? Like, a lot of people say, you're not going to question them. Yeah, I will question them because I can read and I can comprehend things. Yeah, I may not understand the chemical breakdown of certain things, but if I can't ask and have questions, then you're not really looking to, then you're not really in it for the right reasons, from my perspective. Is you got to be able to have discussions. If you can't, then you're closed-minded and you're going to have a lot of blind spots, and you're going to end up, it'll come back to bite you in the rear end if you don't have those open conversations and be open to change. Just like we always talk about it, it comes down to having that conversation and realizing that you might not be right about something.
Yeah.
And being able to be a strong enough person to change your concept, because sometimes you got to change your mental concept of something to get past, well, I've always done this. How is this not right? Like, you brush your teeth up and down and someone tells you to do it in circles. It's a simple thing, but, try out the brushing it in circles. You might have less cavities. Like, don't just say I've always done it this way. Anyway, that's
It's
easier.
great. It's Andrea just sent me a text. She's at CVS going to pick up my Benz or whatever, so she's in line. For the drive-through, whatever. And she's like, you can't believe it. She says, there's a person wearing a mask in their car, and it's just them. They're the only one, and they're still wearing a mask. Like, you want to talk about brainwashed? Like, yeah, unbelievable.
I mean, I feel bad for people like that. Like,
Oh yeah. Well,
now, that person might have sickle cell anemia or something, which then, okay. Because every once in a while in the past, you would see like a random person wearing a mask, like far and few between. But there are certain diseases and illnesses where you need to. But I'm pretty sure the CDC just put out guidance that said there's really no difference between, you know what I mean? Like if you've gotten it and recovered and being vaccinated, there's no difference.
Yeah, well,
unless I misread that, but I think that was their guidance.
It's funny because let's talk about the story for a minute. So, White House COVID-19 response coordinator claims that COVID deaths would nearly be eliminated if people would get vaccinations and use Paxlovid or something like that, which I think is another Pfizer drug. So, wait a minute. So is this guy trying to say that if you've got vaccinated that you don't die of COVID? Because that's a complete bunch of bullshit. If you look at the numbers of hospitalizations and deaths, pretty sure it was higher for vaccinated people not long ago, the last I saw, so.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're not doctors or anything else. There's research out there. I think it's from the UK that backs up what you're saying. It might be one study that's out there, but then that's what I'm talking about is if I can't have a conversation with you, so like this could get flagged or could get us kicked off of YouTube just having this conversation. And when you do that, then now a person like me who likes to have open conversations and think critically, I automatically assume if you're keeping me from discussing it, I'm correct and you don't want people to know I'm correct. Like that's just it could be a logical fallacy. I'm sure there's some, fallacy in my logic there, obviously, but censorship, usually when you censor someone, they're saying something you don't want to hear, because we got to be able to discuss things and get to the truth of the solution. Like,
no, exactly.
Could you imagine, I don't know, if you study long enough, you realize that things are always changing and there's not much set in stone other than death, right? And even then, people have always been trying to find a way to defeat death. At the end of the day, we're all going to die.
Right.
Like that's like a fact that really can't argue that. Everything else, though, there should be open discussion about this, that, or the other. And if you can't openly discuss it, you're not in a free society, and I have no desire to associate with you, because even if you're saying something I don't like, I'm going to have a discussion with you, and then it becomes a name calling and raising voices, then whoever's doing that's lost the argument or lost the discussion. Like, it's just that simple. So it's childish to say you can't talk about this. Like, it's just very childish. And for Americans to think it's okay to censor anyone or any idea is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. It's antithetical to an American based on our history. And then, unfortunately, we're not history as it occurred, and we're convincing people it's okay to ignore the Constitution.
No, exactly.
And the Constitution is, you can fit the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence in a little bitty thin pamphlet, and then you have all kinds of laws and regulations that are thousands and thousands of pages thick that contradict the Constitution, basically. You know what I mean? Like, it's just ridiculous that how they try to work around that little bitty, tiny document that lays out the course of our country and what we espouse to be as Americans. And then people will just blindly, forget about that. And it's an easy read. Everybody should read it. Everybody should, memorize the preamble. Like, I'm pretty sure I had to.
Right. No, exactly. It's just crazy. But so make sure you take some pictures out at Mount Rushmore so you can send those to us, and some of those would probably be able to use for a backdrop too. And I'm excited. Like I was reading some stuff that said that the scale of Crazy Horse compared to Mount Rushmore, you really got to see it in the same day to see the difference in scale. So I'm excited to see both. Nice.
Because of the history involved. And I don't know if we'll have time to walk through the museum. I think it's open after dark, so maybe we will. But I'm just excited to go see what they have on display and what I can learn. And it's just cool. I've never been there. Yeah, no, that's cool. It's definitely a place I've always wanted to, go is the national parks and obviously seeing Mount Rushmore and crazy. Like, those are the things I've always wanted to see. So that's awesome. Well, you have a great day. You guys be safe. And, we'll talk again tomorrow and hopefully have some more pictures we can put up for our viewers. And,
yeah, we'll go from there.
All right, sounds good, Tim. Have a good day. Appreciate you taking care of the garden for me. I told Nikki that, and I think I mentioned to you that there are some tomatoes that definitely, after all this rain, and probably some cucumbers that need to be picked whenever the rain stops. So I think she's off today, so I told her earlier that if she could, to please go, pick everything off so it doesn't go bad. They don't want to waste anything.
Yeah, I'll go down after the show and take a peek and see what's come out, because I'm sure after the rain things have exploded. So
Oh, I can only imagine. I'm gonna have to re-trellis everything. I'm excited. I can't wait to see it.
awesome. All right, well, we'll
All
talk to you
right.
tomorrow.
All right. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right, see you later.
Bye.
Steve Morris on roaming location as he heads to Montana. Seems like some pretty cool things to go out, see Mount Rushmore, Crazy Horse, the Badlands, which I don't know a lot about, but that's pretty cool stuff. So we'll check in with him again tomorrow, see how his trip's going, talk about a few little things, and like I said, at the end of the show, I'll put up some pictures that he sent me from yesterday. It's just pretty cool to see some of these things. And as I said before, if you're a listener and you have some pictures you want to see on the show, you want to use as a backdrop or whatever, you got a cool sunset or any of that stuff, we'd love to have any of that. And it's just the more we can add in the local touch. I can always go online and get stuff, but if I can actually get it from a listener, it actually means more than just stock footage on Google or whatever. So a few things for the local. I saw hiring after school staff Monday through Friday from 2 to 5 at the rec center, and basically you're supervising grades 6 through 12 and as they play games and be a good role model to our youth. So if that's something you're interested in, stop by the rec center or give them a call at 863-1332 and just say, hey, I'm interested in the after school staff position that you have open. And yeah, that sounds like a fun job, just kind of attending the kids after school, doing games and stuff. That's a pretty simple job. Some days I'm sure it's a little higher than others, but that's a good thing, and we definitely could use some positive impact, positive role models for these children. So as we always say, the farmers market 3 to 6 on Friday. So tomorrow, get out, check that out. I'm sure there's a ton of produce. And the last concert on a common, 6 to 8, JJ's Music this Sunday. So check that out. He's pretty good too. So I think we might try to get down there and at least make the last one. It's crazy to think summer is usually when the last concert is over. That's the mark, right? The summer's over, and we still obviously have some good weather left in the year, but it's just crazy how fast summer goes. It's crazy. So another story I saw that I feel is ridiculous. Dartmouth Hospital is requiring their employees to be boosted. So not only did they have to get COVID shots to work there, now they're making them get booster shots, which if you've looked at the past and the recommendations from the CDC and stuff, a lot of the booster shots and stuff, I believe, are in a higher age bracket. If you're 60 plus or you're high risk, or once again, you go to, so I know someone that went to the doctors the other night or the hospital the other night, whatever the issue was, doesn't matter. It's not the point, but they had one doctor and one nurse on at Valley Regional overnight. That's it. One. So you wonder, some of the reason you can't get staff is because some people are like, no, I'm not going to put something in my body that's an experiment that has not been tested long term. It is not approved except for emergency use. And as we said with Steve earlier about the White House coordinator who is saying that less people, or we would nearly eliminate. So, 95%, I would say, would be nearly eliminate, right? Deaths in people if they're vaccinated and use this Pulvaxid. And it's just ridiculous how they push. And this last variant of COVID, if you've asked anyone that's gotten it or whatever, it's almost like cold-like, because every time the virus mutates, it becomes less deadly and more catchy. It's just how a virus works. And as Steve already says, we're not doctors, we're not scientists, but we also were taught things in school. We know things because you don't have to be a doctor or scientist to know that viruses, that's what they do. As they mutate, they become less deadly or less infectious or less deadly and more contagious. to people, because the virus doesn't want to kill its host, because if it kills its host, you or an animal or whatever that it's in, then it dies as well, and that's not what a virus does. So just the idea to make more doctors, nurses, and people that work at Dartmouth now, which Dartmouth is associated with pretty much every hospital around here. So now it's like, oh yeah, you have to get a booster too. So who's going to take care of you if you have bad side effects to this, which we've gone over stories how many times on the show, talk about side effects or athletes that are mysteriously just dropping dead, or, you know, the story from Kentucky the other day where a teenager had a heart attack, but then they blamed it on the flood, but he had a heart attack, which, how did he have a heart attack? And I would think that allegedly will say that he probably had a, COVID shot, I don't know. Don't take my word for it. Look into it, and you'll see everywhere, especially if you get outside of the United States where everything isn't so, blocked on Facebook. Or I shared a meme the other day about the IRS, and basically it was just like a British redcoat with a smile on his face talking about, hiring the new IRS agents. It got flagged as partially false. It didn't even say anything like, it just implied, obviously, with human logic that, hey, look, British redcoat, IRS agents, oh yeah, because they plan on coming after you and me, because they've doubled the amount of IRS agents. You think they're going after billionaires? No, they're going after you and me, and they're arming these IRS agents. It's very interesting, isn't it? But anyways, Facebook flags it partially false. Partially false how? How is that partially false? Because it's a meme that you don't agree with, and it's amazing because it comes right on the same day that Biden signed his Inflation Reduction Act, which we all know won't reduce inflation at all. It's a complete bunch of BS. But there you go. Crazy time. So this is, it's a meme. It's not a meme. It's a slide, I guess you would say. I'm going to put it up on the screen here. But the United States Postal Service National Change of Address, the National Change of Address data identified 15,552 voters who moved from New Hampshire prior to the 2020 general election, but they are still registered to vote at their old address, and 100% of them still voted. Now, it's a meme I saw. It was from a voter integrity group, so I can't verify this source, but it's interesting, isn't it? That, if that is true, which it wouldn't surprise me. I've seen people that have died getting their absentee ballots or their things for their ballots and stuff. So I don't think voter fraud is as big of a thing in New Hampshire as in maybe other states. It shouldn't happen anywhere. And every vote needs to count. They actually just changed the law when we were at the selectmen's meeting. I heard that if somebody was to vote and you're supposed to pick two candidates and you pick three, now the little voting machine will reject the ballot, and then you have to explain to the resident, well, it's because you voted three times. For three people here, you have to only vote for two or whatever. But interesting stuff for sure. Meme of the day, if I can find it here, because I've got all these tabs open as I always do. Here we go. Your child isn't trans. Your child is impressionable, and you are an abuser. Chad Panther, and I'm not sure who he is, but it's so true, in my personal opinion, to allow your child to do some sort of surgery or altering drugs, or taking drugs to alter their hormones or whatever. It's child abuse. When your child's 18, then an adult, then let them choose whatever they want. If your child wants to wear girlish kind of clothes or what, then whatever. Do what you want to do. That's whatever. You want to paint your fingernails, whatever you want to do, that's fine. But there's more and more stories coming out how you have young children getting sex changes. That's child abuse. That is unbelievable. And there's actually a story at a Boston hospital saying that, they're not doing that. It's been proven, I guess, that they have a team of people for this, for transgender surgeries or whatever. Then why would you have a team of these people if you aren't doing them? What are we doing here, people? Like, get your kid into counseling, and you know what? When they're 18, if they decide they wanted to change, I still think it's a mental disorder, but That's their decision. It doesn't affect my life. Don't try to push it down my throat or anyone else's throat. If you want to do that, you do you. That's fine. But it is an issue when you're trying to shove it down my throat saying, oh, no, I need to accept this. This is how it is. And no, I don't need to accept this. You should accept your reality that you're a girl, you're whatever, you know. So much of this is attention seeking too, where it's hard to stand out in today's day and age. There's so many obstacles to get through, right? And I feel like a lot of kids in school use this as an advantage, right? Well, if I say I'm this or that or non-binary, whatever, it gives you an edge so that, well, wait, you can't talk to me that way because I'm this. Well, no, I'm going to do the same thing. Dignity, respect that Steve already talks about, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter who that person is. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? All the things that are wrong in the world today, all the issues we face, and this is constantly in the news as this thing that they're trying to shove this sexuality and these sexualized things on your children, whether it's in school, whether it's a lot of it's school, but especially social media and everything. Like the person yesterday that I quoted saying that they don't like to be called, you know, pedophiles. Basically, it's a minor attracted person. Like, can you not see that there's a group of people in this country that are trying to turn your young children as sexual objects and then trying to justify it so that if the 50-year-old is doing things with a 12-year-old, they want to justify that as that's okay. That's not okay. That person should be locked up in a cage the rest of their life. And that's putting it mildly. This is what is happening. You have to pay attention to what your kids are doing, especially on social media. Ask them about their day. Ask them about school. All these things. And whether it doesn't happen in Newport, it's happening somewhere else, I'm telling you, don't think it can't happen, because it does. And it's the people that think, well, no, it can't happen here. Yeah, it does, because everybody says the same thing. But it's happening, and it's happening everywhere. And every day you look at news stories about it. Just because it's not your neighbor, it's not affecting you today, it's because it's today. Tomorrow, it could change. So be involved in your kids' lives and ask questions. And if they're feeling certain ways, talk to your kids. Well, why are you feeling this way? What is going on at school? Why don't you want to go to school anymore? Well, because this is happening. Address it. You have to be involved in your kids' lives. And a lot of us out there are extremely involved with their kids' lives. There's a lot of parents out there that aren't involved in any aspect of their kids' lives, and they're just like, whatever, go do whatever. We don't care. Well, then reach out to the person at the rec center or something, because somebody out there cares about your kids. Somebody cares. And we've got to get to these kids at a younger age and stop letting them be lost to drugs or whatever else is out there that is going to, you know, consume your child's mind. So yeah, meme of the day. Some interesting little stories. Liz Cheney's husband and Hunter Biden's attorney are partners at the same firm. So this could actually, you know, explain a lot of why Liz Cheney is, you know, so anti-Trump, pro-Democrats all of a sudden. Like, well, maybe because there's a financial benefit in it. If your husband is working with the lawyer that is Hunter Biden's lawyer in the same firm, it's kind of a conflict of interest there, don't you think, in a way? Like, you have this corrupt person, allegedly, right, from what we've seen, even though the FBI or American KGB doesn't do anything about it. But Hunter Biden, apparently he can do anything he wants. He can smoke crack, have prostitutes, impregnate his brother's widow, or I don't know. He's just such a creep. But yeah, I guess allegedly from what we see, Liz Cheney's husband and Hunter Biden's attorney are partners at the same firm. So it's good times. Simone Sanders tells Democrats to stop talking about Mar-a-Lago investigation. Instead, talk about Biden's successes. Yeah, I'm thinking his successes. I mean, if success is, you know, if his success was to be, how can I destroy the country? He's succeeding very well. He's doing a very, very good job with inflation, gas prices, this new lovely bill that they just passed that is going to help inflation by spending, you know, $740 billion or whatever. because in the flip side, we'll get 200 billion back in taxes. So my math's not great, but if you're spending 740 billion roughly to get 200 billion back in taxes, you're still in the red by a lot, like over 500 billion. So you can just think and remember, and you hear it on the show, you hear it everywhere else, and you probably think, it's crazy, 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 crazy. Those 87,000 IRS agents, they're going to be coming for you and me to make sure that every little penny the IRS needs is accounted for, right? So they wanted to look at your bank accounts for anything $600 you spent or more. It used to be $10,000. Now $600. How about we look at what the government's spending our money on, and let's audit that. But the people in charge, the ones that never are accountable for anything, they just spend money wildly. Think that we, the American people who work hard for our money, we should account to the IRS better. We should basically be looked under a microscope of where you're spending every little penny, because apparently that's their business. Last I knew, this was the United States of America, where we were a free country and we weren't like communist China or Russia or whatever, but it's slowly going that direction, isn't it? Crazy, crazy times. Here's an interesting one that's, it would be cool, I guess, in a way, but at the same time, it's kind of creepy. But the thing says, life finds a way. Scientists are planning to resurrect an extinct Tasmanian tiger. So Tasmanian tigers went extinct in the 1930s because originally, I guess, when they went to New Zealand to, like, people live, moved there to live or whatever, they believed the Tasmanian tiger was killing their chickens and different things, so they basically wiped out all the Tasmanian tigers. So now scientists have a way with some DNA from a previous one to basically clone one, I guess you would say. The scary part is, like, has anyone not seen Jurassic Park? I don't know. There could be some really bad it could be good and be like, hey, that's cool. But at the same time, scientists are always messing with things, right? Like gain of function research, COVID. That was something they were playing with. So kind of scary. But yeah, there you go. All right, here's the thing I was telling you about earlier. And I want to start this as a new game because I think I can actually find enough memes and stuff to make this work. So today's game of who do you trust more? Here is, do you trust the FBI or Casey Anthony babysitting for the weekend? And obviously I would assume and hope that everyone out there knows who Casey Anthony is. She's the one that, I don't know, her baby, her young child died in her custody or whatever, and they tried her for murder. She got acquitted for murder. I think pretty much anyone that watched the case probably was actually murder, but be that as it is. Who do you trust more? Do you trust the FBI or Casey Anthony babysitting your kids for a weekend? Me personally, well, my youngest child, let's see, the FBI. It's a tough one. My older kids, of course, I would say I trust Casey Anthony because they're older and they don't need babysitters. But yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting one. I don't trust the FBI at all, so it's a tough one. But you can email in Tim and Steve Show nh@gmail.com or message us on Facebook. I'd be interested to see what you think. Who do you trust more? Keep it confidential. I won't come out here and say, John Smith says that, hell yeah, you trust Casey Anthony over the FBI or whatever. But interesting. So I would have another one already for tomorrow, which will be good. So I can at least keep this going for 2 days. And I've seen a few of these that, who do you trust more? And I think it'll be a fun little thing for us to do. Because at this point, there's not much that I would trust the FBI with. So that's for sure. Another little story. This is kind of a funny story of the day, I guess you would say. Not funny for these people, of course, but arrested couple accused of having sex in front of minors at Cedar Point Ferris wheel. And then one person commented under the story, which is funny, saying, isn't this the poor folks Mile High Club? So if you're out there and you're with your significant other or whatever, and you're feeling in the mood, you should really remember where you are. And maybe a Ferris wheel with children on it is not the best place to do that. I just thought it was a funny little story. No one was harmed in this story, at least physically. And there was no picture of the couple, because I can only imagine. Who knows what this couple looked like or anything, of course. But interesting little funny story of the day. And then just two more quick little stories here, and then we'll wrap it up for the day. But Planned Parenthood prepares to spend $50 million for the midterms. So obviously Planned Parenthood is mad at the whole Roe versus Wade thing, which in a way I could see how they would be mad, because their business isn't just abortions, but it's that kind of thing, right? It's abortions, it's birth control, all those kinds of things, and more for people that don't have insurance, that can't afford it. It's cheaper to go to Planned Parenthood, whatever. So obviously they're mad about the Roe versus Wade thing, which, okay, whatever. You have a right to your opinion. But they plan to spend $50 million for the midterms. So they're going to spend money in campaign ads and everything against, obviously, Republicans who are against abortion, and they're going to put it on all these Democrats. So here's the thing that got me, because I was like, wait a minute, Planned Parenthood, I want to look it up. So its combined annual revenue in the U.S. is $1.3 billion, Planned Parenthood, including approximately $530 million in government funding, such as Medicaid reimbursements. And I couldn't see, I don't know where the rest of their money comes from. I'm sure it's other donors and whatever. But the point is, they're getting $530 million from the government, and they're spending $50 million for midterm elections to campaign against, whoever they don't want to be in there, as like a retaliation for the Roe versus Wade thing, so Planned Parenthood, you don't think with $50 million you could do something better with it? I don't get it. I don't understand these people that have money that just piss it away, and they, $50 million. I'm trying to think, what could you do with $50 million, say in Newport, New Hampshire? Well, you could fix every road. You could make sure no kid ever went hungry. You probably could send every kid in Newport to school for 4 years, their college, plus pay for their school now. You could build a rec center. You could do so much money, or so much, with $50 million. But we're going to spend it on campaign ads against Democrats that, honestly, if you look at the country, and if you really think the country is better now than it was 2 years ago, I don't know what planet you're living on. However, okay, but most people, I think, are like, yeah, no, I'm not happier with the country right now, and I'm like, we're done. So the theory is the Democrats are going to get hammered in November, but you already know that this is probably what's going to happen, but you're still going to spend $50 million. I don't get it. Why don't you, these people with money, why don't you do something that actually benefits somebody? Like when I was all mad about them renaming Faneuil Hall, or the group of protesters that wanted to, because of this, Thaniel is a real D-bag slave owner or whatever. What makes me mad is that you could be doing something more valuable with your time that actually impact people's lives, to make their lives better, to help them where their struggles. Like I was talking to Nikki earlier before the show, I'm like, the labor shortage, like, where are all the workers? But last year, 100,000 Americans died of drug overdoses. Dead. 100 million Americans. And I'm sure this year is going to be on track for something similar, more or less, don't know, but 100,000 people. 100,000. So if you figure 100,000 people died of drug overdoses, how many millions in this country are hooked on drugs? And a majority of them are going to be people, mine and Steve's age. So I'm in 39, Steve's 46, and under, which is that class of people that would be working, right? That would be driving a truck for Carroll Concrete, or driving a truck somewhere else. And so what are we doing? Before COVID, it was like, we're going to tackle the opioid issue. But now all of a sudden it's climate change. We're worried about everything, but we're not worried about the drug issues in your community and how to fix that. It's just, whatever. Who cares? You buy a nice, expensive, $200,000 car, and you'll get a $7,500 rebate. Woohoo! Oh, but if you look at the fine print, that probably won't happen because it has to be like 40% of the battery or whatever is made in America or mined in America, and then it gets harder as the years go on. It's like, it's all just a bunch of crap. Smoke and mirrors. They're all corrupt down there. We need to get rid of them. We need to primary them all out. Just like Liz Cheney, primary them out. Which should be hard to do this year. We're getting close to, September 13th, I believe it is, in New Hampshire is the primary. But that's the choice. You have a choice. The only choice you have is a Democrat or Republican. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I don't think that's how this country should be. We need to work to change it. The problem is, if you want to keep going the way we are, spending all this money at places we don't have any concern in, Ukraine, wherever they don't want to send your money to, if you want to keep doing that, you want to keep seeing inflation go through the roof, you want to keep paying double, light bills and all this, then you need to vote for a Democrat. But if you want any hope at all of that changing, you have to go to the ballot box in November and you have to vote for Republicans. And I hate to say it because I don't like them either, but you have a choice between the people that want to completely destroy the country and these people over here. And then as soon as these people take office, you need to start again. You'll have 2 more years to primary all these people out and get new people in there. Get new Democrats in there that actually stand for your values. Get new Republicans in there that actually stand for your values. The people that will listen to you. The people that are going to do what the American people want, not what the big corporations want, not what all these families that have literally been in politics. I believe I saw that Cheney's, Bush's, I think it was the Cheney's and Bush's have been in politics. So there's never not been one in the system since like 1967. That is how long they've been in politics, and now she won't be in politics after November, or excuse me, after January. Well, actually, they may in Wyoming, someplace a little different, but the presidency, the president takes over in January, but perhaps in Wyoming where she is, it could be sooner. But so she was primaried out, so it'll be a new Republican and Democrat facing off for the opportunity to get sent to Washington. But just think about it. The family name that's been there for that long, these people are all connected, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, but unfortunately now it's like, what are you going to do? You vote for Democrats, you're going to just keep doing what you're doing right now. Reckless spending, they don't care. You do Republican, send them there. Hopefully, at least with the majority of them, they'll stop what's happening, maybe look into some of what's going on, hopefully. And then you have 2 years to work hard to try to get someone else in these positions and get rid of these people that have been there forever. So, last little quick thing. Northern Bronx suffers 30% spike in violent crime since electing defund the police socialist Rep. Bowman. Interesting. What do you think is going to happen if you elect people that literally say these things and you just send them anyways? Like, defund the police. We don't need police. Well, you do. You don't need the bad police. You need to get rid of the bad police, which there are some bad police because there's always a bad apple, right? There is bad everywhere you look. There is someone bad in that position. There's bad teachers. There's bad pastors. There's bad doctors. There's all these. It's just, that's life. But you can't get rid of the whole organization, right? You can't get rid of the whole government. But you really can reduce it because it's gotten so big. You can't get rid of the police department. You need the police department. You don't want people driving through your town at 100 miles per hour. You don't want people selling drugs to your kids. So yeah, you need this. What do you think is going to happen when you elect people to offices that are defund the police or defund this, or they told you what they're about, right? I mean, he's a socialist. How's that going to work out for you? Well, you're 30% spike in crime. Overall crime in the whole country is up, but especially in places like New York City, it's gone through the roof. Why do you think that is? Because you have a governor out there that wants to change the name from inmate to incarcerated individual, because that's what's important to her, not how can we make the 30% spike in violent crime, eliminate that and lower it because it's already too high from whatever it was before. Crazy times we live in. I was just thinking, I don't think I found a positive meme of the day. So what we will do is, if you give me a second, I apologize. It's just crazy. I just don't even, I don't get it. I don't know how some of these people manage to get into the position of power they're in and stay there. It just doesn't make sense. completely craziness. This is one actually. Well, I used this earlier this week, but I think it's worth saying it again as like a positive meme. On September 5th, 1942, United States Navy Petty Officer First Class Charles Jackson French of Omaha, Nebraska, swam through the night for 6 to 8 hours, pulling a raft with 15 wounded sailors while a rope was around his stomach through shark-infested waters after the USS Gregory was hit. So that's a pretty badass guy right there, and that's an American hero. And this is what this country is founded on, is people like this right here. And we can't forget these people and what they sacrificed so we could be free. This man right here swam 6 to 8 hours across shark-infested ocean water, towing a raft with 15 wounded sailors on it. He was fighting for that America. He was fighting to get back to his loved ones, and so that you would be free. You cannot give up that freedom at any cost whatsoever. You cannot give up your freedom. Too many people, men and women, just like this person right here, fought for this country and lived their lives in hell, and hundreds of thousands of them have died protecting the freedoms of this country. You can't just roll over and say, no, I guess I'll just give up my freedoms because that's easy. Because that's not the America that we live in, or that we should be living in. It shouldn't be the, whatever. No, you have to take a stand. You have to be like, no, we're not doing this anymore. We're not giving up our freedoms. We're not going to be told this is what you have to do. You have to put this in your body. You have to wear a mask. You have to do this. No, we don't. Because people like this right here, this hero, swam across the ocean, dragging sailors behind him, because that's what he had to do, and that's what this country was founded on. It's people like this. It wasn't these asshats you have running the government right now who've never done nothing but put their hand out and steal from you, the taxpayer. This has to change, and it has to change now before it's lost forever, because freedom isn't free, and people like this right here made the ultimate sacrifice, or sacrificed this man particular man swimming across the ocean 6 to 8 hours with sharks around him, or shark-infested water. Obviously, there was blood in the water, I'm sure, because he had 15 wounded sailors on this raft. So remember that, and remember in November who's out there trying to take away all your rights, and who thinks they should just send all your money to foreign countries that they can then funnel back into their pockets, allegedly. Something to think about. So thank you so much for watching the show. I'll be back with you tomorrow. We'll get Steve on again, and hopefully the end of the week we'll get him back in here. And I know Lydia will be back, so maybe on Monday at least, and get her in here. It's usually a little easier with another person and not just me talking. But yeah, I hope you have a great day. It stopped raining and it's supposed to be nice out. And if I don't see you around town, we'll talk to you tomorrow morning.